Hi guys, so I'm back again like I said I would be. I'm at my normal regular spot where I usually sit and have lunch every day. So it's Saturday. It is about almost 2 o'clock, I think, Hawaii time now. I want to go ahead and share, like I promised, with everybody who's watching, aside from Gems and Crypto Mom, my story and how I got involved in all this. So I want to say about 2 years ago, it was a Saturday like any other Saturday, and I was cruising the internet, surfing online, and I happened to come across Satoshi's white paper. I can't even remember how or what I was looking for or how I came across it, but I downloaded it and I read it. And I remember being just enthralled with the concept and what it could actually mean and the industries that it could really disrupt. Um, so after I read Satoshi's white paper, I just kept looking for information on BTC and what it was going on and what it was about. You guys will have to pardon. I got my little dog with me in case she makes any noise. You know what's going on with that. I might even introduce her after I'm all done. Anyways, so I ended up getting involved. My first purchase was in mining with Genesis Mining. And I purchased that through or on a credit card, and then didn't find out until later that it was charged at a cash advance rate, which kind of doesn't surprise me because, they've kind of changed a lot of things over the years with what you buy with your credit cards, and they've gotten pretty savvy when it comes to what you're purchasing, whether or not it can be exchanged for cash, and if they figure that you can, they hit you at a cash advance rate. So, anyways, I invested about $140 in Genesis Mining. I can't even tell you or remember how many terahashes that was at the time. But the contract was lifetime. So basically, when you penciled out the math, the money that you got back from it after maybe 6 months, a year, whatever, however long it took, after that time passed, everything else you got back from that was gravy, right? It was over and above everything else. And so once you got paid back, you have nothing to lose. After I started that Genesis mining contract, I got involved in a mining website by the name of Oceans. I believe that's what it was. Hash Ocean, I'm sorry. It's been so long now I kind of forgot. It was Hash Ocean. And it worked really well for quite a while, but I was reinvesting all the time because when I first started, I was literally only earning like 2 pennies a day. Go ahead, get down on the floor. Go. Well, stop your winking. Um, I was literally earning like 2 cents a day, okay, 5 cents a day, stuff like that. And at the time, Bitcoin was only worth $400. So even a half a terahash was not earning next to anything. But my vision was going forward, and with the price of Bitcoin, rising, that it could someday be worth a lot. So I invested in Hash Ocean, and I never ever got to pull money out, and then just one day they disappeared. They exit scammed. I want to say probably about 6 months into the program, and at the time I would have been earning maybe $3, $2 or $3 a day, $1.80, something like that. I was only looking for like $30 or $40 extra a month, beer money. It was like trading baseball cards, it was nothing serious. So then, after Hash Ocean folded up its doors and stole everybody's funds, I started looking around for other mining because I kind of thought it's like, yeah, I could go buy Bitcoin and all that sort of thing, but what a great idea to kind of like own the gold mine. I literally like had my own gold mine as a BTC mine. And I wasn't technically savvy enough to build my own rig or have my own mining deal, and I didn't know enough about it to put out that kind of money. So the next place I found was Hashflare. And I researched Hashflare and knew that they were part of Hash Coins, which has been around since like the inception of Satoshi's paper and or right after. They were a very early player. I also studied. I got a lot of books from Audible.com. Digital Gold was one of the first books that I read, and it talked about all the illegal, illicit uses that Bitcoin had gone through. It talked about Mt. Gox. It talked about where it all came from, and Charlie Sheen, and just all these big players in the Bitcoin market, and Silk Road, and all of that sort of stuff. So at the time then, so I had my contract with Genesis Mining and my contract with Hashflare. Hashflare also was lifetime. which was great. And the concept was, I was going to reinvest and just keep building it up until, got to where I could take out, 20 or $30 a day. Then what happened was uh, I invested in another mining outfit by the name of Bit Income, and that turned out to be a scam too. And it was, it's funny because it didn't even last a couple of months. My plan was, after having Hash Ocean go under, that after a week I would take my money out because it was supposed to pay so well that you could do that. Kind of like this, some of the ICOs we look at where we can take our interest out in a few days and be even. That was what I was going to do. Well, that didn't even work out. So I lost, like in Hash Ocean, I lost a couple $100. It wasn't a lot. I lost $400 or $500 with Bit Income, which never turned out to be anything. It was just a money pit. And I decided then that I wasn't going to go into any other mining deals other than Genesis and Hashflare because they were reputable. I'd read a lot about them. They were working and paying. And then what happened in August of last year, Hashflare changed their terms and conditions to no longer be lifetime contracts. So the contracts that I had purchased at the time, I think I was up to about 10 or 12 terahashes. Crypto Moms, I'm envious. 175 terahashes, oh my god, that's insane. And I applaud you, I think I applaud you, for putting $15,000 into Hashflare, because that, my dear, is an extraordinary bet on black. And I'm so happy that it worked out for you. So I went ahead and had about 12 terahashes, 14 terahashes, when Hashflare changed their terms and conditions and got rid of lifetime, and now it's only annual. So at the time, then my plan was, when I had enough funds, I was going to make sure that I could get as many terahashes with Genesis as I had at the time with Hashflare, because Genesis didn't change their agreement and it was still going to be lifetime. Well, then came the hardware crunch, right? Like right now, Genesis is out and they do pre-sales. So I currently have like 1.75 terahashes with Genesis, and then I have the contract that I was able to buy 1.8 terahashes, because that was all the Bitcoin I could get out of Hashflare at the time to purchase it, because all of the fees and everything for moving Bitcoin had skyrocketed, right? So Hashflare in particular said unless you had a certain amount of BTC, they wouldn't let you transfer it out. There was a minimum at the time of, I think, 0.1 Bitcoin. And for all of you who don't necessarily know, that at the time was approximately like $1,700. You had to like have $1,500 to $1,700 worth of Bitcoin before they would let you withdraw it. So I had this money stuck there that I couldn't use to buy hash power at Genesis when they had contracts to sell. Now that contract will start mining at the end of this month, because it was a 4-month pre-purchase. So what I would recommend to people is if you have the cash and you want to buy more hash power, to wait until Genesis Mining has them to sell. They sell out in like 3 days, 4 days. I'm expecting them to open up pre-sales for the SHA 256 in another month or two. Right when the new contract that I'm waiting for comes online, I'm expecting them to have pre-sales again for Bitcoin mining. I'm hoping to get the hash power back up to as much as I have with Hashflare, because then when Hashflare goes away, I can just stick with Genesis. Now I did, because I bought the 1.8 terahashes with what Bitcoin I had available, and I lost my train of thought. Sorry. I was also involved in doing some peer-to-peer trading with BTC and Ripple. I kind of was messing around with that because I had opened a Bitstamp account. I don't know if any of you do any exchange on the exchange, but I was doing that. The other thing that happened was, like I've said before, this state changed their law or their rules, and Coinbase and Circle Financial out of the state, right? So now what am I going to do for my wallets? So it was funny because I just happened to be I was on some blog, or I was something online, and I found a guy that was in the state of Hawaii that said, oh, I use Uphold, which is UPHOLD, Uphold. I'm not sure if it's Uphold Financial, but just Google Uphold. It's a really awesome, cool wallet that allows for exchanging between all kinds of, well, I shouldn't say all kinds of cryptocurrency. I think they have Litecoin, Bitcoin. I think they have Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Gold, Ethereum. I can't remember off the top of my head if there's any others. But the other thing they have is regular fiat currency that you can trade back and forth from. Canadian, rupees, the Philip dollar from the Philippines. Just they have an incredible amount of fiat currency that you can interchange between crypto and whatever you want. Canadian dollar, you name it, they pretty much got it. And so that was really cool. And they have all of their crypto stuff is backed up with dollar reserves. So they met the new rule change here in Hawaii that allowed me to be able to have another place to go. Now, my Uphold account is actually connected to my local bank account here. So I can take things from my Bitstamp exchange to Uphold, and then from Uphold to Bank of Hawaii, which allows me to get back to fiat. I don't use an Exodus wallet because the Exodus wallet is you only can upload that. I'm sorry, you can only download that with a 64-bit operating system, and my operating system is only 32-bit. I was going to have to totally wipe out my entire operating system and totally reload a 64-bit, and that was just like, oh my god, don't even go there. I can't even go there. So I don't have an Exodus wallet, and I use Uphold. But Uphold does have some Ethereum and coins in the ICO market that they won't touch, just like Coinbase does from what Oracle says. So what I do is if I need to send money from Uphold to someplace where I'm going to then be able to do an ICO purchase, I go to Bitstamp as an exchange. It just goes in and then right out when it's time to do it, and I don't have to worry about any sort of restrictions or worry about my account being closed. So after I got involved or got into more hashing power, I really decided at that time that this was the way of the future. I wanted to invest more, and how could I do that? Well, I got hooked up with Bitcoin IRA. So, like Crypto Moms and her $15,000 to buy Hashflare power, I took a $30,000 IRA and I rolled it over into Bitcoin. I rolled over 20 grand into Bitcoin and 10 grand into Ethereum. And that's turned out very well, obviously, because I did that right at about the time Bitcoin was $2,800. So I did okay on that. And I'm in it for the long haul. So, 50 more years from now, haha, when I retire, somebody commented on my last video, it's nice to see older people involved in this, and I kind of cringed. Although, I'm not a spring chicken anymore by any means, but I don't consider myself old. I probably am a older demographic for this space, but I think that's a good thing, so I don't mind. Anyhow, so now that I've gotten my IRA put into that, it's not all of my IRA funds. I still have a traditional kind of IRA with the place that I work, where I'm at there. This was an old IRA that I rolled over from employment from when I was in my 20s that had just been sitting, really not doing much of anything. So that's been a really good move. And I was at a point where I was like, I got a lot of time to make up for, and I really do need to take some big risks when it comes to my IRA. So after I did that, then I started getting into what I mentioned earlier, the peer-to-peer trading. So I would go to Bitstamp and I would buy Ripple for, at the time, back then, was like 20 cents an XRP. And I'd buy like $300 worth of it. And then I would go to a website that goes by that's Cointal. So COINTAL. It's a peer-to-peer exchange, kind of like localbitcoins.com. And I would mark up my Ripple at, say, 20 or 25% and sell it to whoever wanted to pay that. So I was making probably anywhere between 18 to 20% on what I could buy off an exchange, mark it up, and sell it over on a peer-to-peer network. But it got to be too cumbersome and time-consuming for what I was really making. So, like, 20% on $300 for, making anywhere from $50 to $60 after fees for, 3 hours worth of work, because I had to do all this kind of transferring and what have you, and communicating with people via chat room and stuff like that. It got to be too much of a burden, and so I kind of just, just decided to stop doing it. And then, of course, Ripple went through the roof at the time. It was almost $3. I did really well on Ripple, actually. And when I got out of Ripple, those are the funds that I used to get into the ICOs that we're into with TMUS and CryptoBaller and Oracle. So when Crypto Mom talks about the lending platforms and what have you just being scams, I kind of cringe a little bit, because I know that there's a lot that absolutely are scams, but I would hate for anybody to be so disheartened that they just kind of gave up, You're a good girl. Yes, you're good. Anyhow, I completely understand what she says about they've yet to prove themselves out. And so, but I'm still trying. I'm not putting any more money in the ICOs that I've gotten into currently, which stand at about maybe a value of $1,300 or $1,400, until these platforms do prove themselves out. And I think that that's just prudent, right? I mean, in the same way that we proved out Hashflare and Genesis Mining, you got to prove out the ICOs too. And that whole arena really is changing the model. There's a paradigm shift there with how it's working out because of how regulations are coming down, what that's going to look like. I don't believe they can be Ponzi schemes, and BitConnect certainly, I think, has a potential that it was, especially if they lied to everybody, it didn't have a trading bot, and they were just taking money from new people that came to pay old people, then absolutely, total Ponzi scheme. But if you look at a lending platform, let's say a lending platform acted like a bank, okay? Our banks, we deposit our money there, they lend that money out to other people, and they make money on your money. Remember, money is a commodity, like oil is, like gas, like whatever. It's a commodity, okay? So it's a product. So if you had a bank that said, look, for every referral you bring us another customer that deposits money in our bank and we lend out, we're going to give you a percentage of the interest we're making. Now, they do that now, but what do they pay us? 0.5%, 0.25% if we're lucky. So if these companies are willing to give us more interest on the money we stake or lend to them, whatever, that doesn't sound like a Ponzi scheme to me, okay? And as long as they are able to make more interest or more money on the money they're using that we're lending, and that's real, that's not a Ponzi scheme. And if somebody wants to post a comment here and discuss it with me, I'm all about that. I've been in MLM, multi-level marketing stuff. I never sold Tupperware, which, I think Crypto Gems and I had an interesting comment about that. But I've been in organizations that were multi-level marketed, and the biggest thing about that was you had to have a product that sold, and you couldn't pay money to other people in other people's network, pyramid, from just people signing up. You had to be paying money to them commission-wise from product that was purchased or sold, okay? Well, money is a product, so I want to hear that argument. I'd like to discuss that with someone if they wanted to. Anyways, so where I'm at right now is I'm in these 6 ICOs. I'm waiting to see how that pans out. My IRAs are sticking it out, holding out onto that. And I got my mining generators that are, earning me Bitcoin. I also have an Ethermine because I wanted to experiment with that. So I have a little Ethereum that I'm playing around with, because I think Ethereum is a platform that is smart contracts are going to be just the way of the future too. There's going to be so much disruption in notary republics, holding titles, things attorneys do normally for contract law. That's all going to change. Smart contracts are just, it's incredible. Anyhow, that's my story. I'm 20 minutes into this, which is kind of long for what I usually do, but it was a big story. So, Crypto Mom, I can't wait to hear back from you. Gems, I'm going to private message you my, either my phone number or my email, so we can figure out how we're going to do some interviews, because I think the 3 of us, you, myself, and Crypto Mom, Oh my God, we could do an awesome podcast. That would just be amazing. Anyways, I'm gonna sign off for now. Thank you to the new subscribers that I have. I noticed I've got a whole 6 now. Woo! 4 new people. I know I got Gems and Mom. I'm not sure who the other 4 are. Thank you very much. Anybody else that likes this content or likes to hear what I've got to say, by all means, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell. I love to talk to people and chat about this sort of stuff. So that's great. I've reached out to Coin Center. I'd really like to talk with them and see if they'll do an interview. I really think that regulatory information in the YouTube space, because I don't see a lot of it myself. I don't see a lot of regulatory information in the YouTube space, and I could be wrong. I haven't looked at everything, but from a regular person's place and perspective, nor in the female demographic. So, women, come on. We want to do this, okay? Let's go for it. You guys have a great weekend. I hope to make another video tomorrow. I got to figure out what it's going to be about. But I'm really, really excited. So have a great weekend. Happy Saturday. Bye.